I'd like to once again welcome Sebastián Silva. After seeing the film, he needs no introduction. Nonetheless, that doesn't stop me. I just wanted to say he is the director of La Nana, The Maid, which won the World Cinema Jury Prize at Sundance in 2009. And of course, as the director of Crystal Fairy, he won the World Cinema Directing Award at Sundance in 2013. He is an original creative, brilliant filmmaker. We're really pleased to have him with us. And what we'd like to do is have a conversation with you. So, are there any questions or comments? Yes?
The film is really naturalistic, like it's really true to life, and I was wondering how much of it is scripted and how much of it was completely improvised as you were filming it?
So yeah, it was the first time that I actually went on set with without a screenplay. It was more of an outline. It was like a 11-page outline on which most of the most significant beats were written, and the actions were pretty fleshed out, and I made sure that I knew what the arc of my characters was going to be emotionally and spiritually, especially, I mean, Crystal and Jamie, right? So I knew what was their, what was going to be their narrative arc all throughout the movie and what was going to happen in each scene, but yeah, there was no dialogue written for the movie.
Sorry, did you say you didn't have a screenplay at all?
I mean, yeah, I had an outline, which I mean, it's a form of a screenplay. I mean, a screenplay at the end of the day is just really a guide for you to...
But so many of the lines in the film seem as though you've thought about them, like just all of the stupid, annoying things that Michael Cera says in the film, like really seem scripted. So.
Yeah, I guess it's because we knew the characters very well, and we would do a little bit of a talk before every scene, and you know how it works with improvised dialogue is that you run, I mean, you do a first take, and then let's say that the whole take took 13 minutes, and it's way too long, and it should be like really forced, so you tell whatever actor was talking too much or like sort of like getting sidetracked on different subjects to sort of stick to the main narrative plot and like and shorten the dialogue. And then usually by the third take that we were doing, we got it. Yeah, we got it, and then we would finesse more stuff. And if there was like a line that I really liked, or I would come up with a dialogue, I would make them say it right there on the spot. But yeah, very little of it was scripted. I mean, there's no hard copy of any of those dialogues written anywhere, yeah.
Wow, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, how many shooting days?
Oh,
Can
11.
you give me a rough estimate on your budget? And the most important thing, how did you get the money up?
Okay. I sold my blood and my semen. Had so much of it. No, we got the money with private financiers in Chile, and the shooting took 11 days. It was only 11 days of shooting. And the money we got, I mean, I've made movies before. This is my 4th film. I'm talking to you, sir. You gotta pay attention. No, so yeah, the money we got, because I mean we had Michael Cera, which is a semi-famous creature, right? And the movie was $400,000. Yeah, with that budget, and I'd made movies before, so I'm known in like a A-class sort of festival circuit, and so sort of like the odds that the movie wouldn't recoup that amount of money were unlikely. It's very likely that you would recoup that money. Maybe you won't make more money than that, but eventually you would. And that's the case. I don't know if we recoup the entire $400,000, but we will. I mean, it's on Netflix, and DVDs are being sold, and now it's going to be released in South America in April, and it's been being released in different countries in Europe, and that's how you sort of like get the money back with an indie film like this.
Thank you very much. I was very happy to see it. I wasn't able to see it when it was shown in the Bay Area here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're welcome.
I did have his mother very well.
She's amazing. She's great.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you decide to make a movie about San Pedro?
Yeah, I mean, San Pedro is like an element of the movie. I don't think it's a movie about San Pedro. For me, it's really a movie about the birth of compassion that Jamie goes through, you know, and also about, it's really about Jamie and Crystal and their spiritual sort of journey. And the cactus sort of serves as a, sort of like a MacGuffin for the movie, but I've taken San Pedro many times, not like billions of times, but like, I don't know, 5. And it is a very beautiful experience that could reconnect you with parts of you that you sort of dismiss or disregard, you know. And I feel that in the case of Jamie, like, he's clearly a selfish, very driven sort of person that doesn't see beyond his own needs. And I feel that, yeah, the context of where he took it and the people that were around, those brothers, those beautiful brothers, kind of helped him to, have some kind of a spiritual epiphany where he could finally stop judging Crystal Fairy and see where she was coming from, and even farther, like, cry for her pain. Yeah.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey.
As a fellow Chilean, first of all, congratulations for
Thanks,
all your
man.
success. I wanted to ask you, sort of related to the previous question. It's very common to see, especially in these sort of light-hearted movies, that whenever you touch the issue of drugs, it tends to get sort of satirical or comical, or it's just exaggerated, the effect, and you don't see that in this movie. So I wanted to know what your thought process was, or what your considerations were.
We just had no budget to create those effects. No, I would just like, I'm not really into that. I mean, like, a movie like Fear and Loathing, it's really awesome the way that they did all of those effects, and it was very amusing to the eye and stuff. But that was a really, like, a movie that was about that, you know? This movie is really not about the drug. Like, IndieWire, this independent film-based sort of like a website, called it a drug movie, and I don't agree. I don't think it's a drug movie, you know? It has its San Pedro, and San Pedro contains mescaline, but it's really infantile to call it a drug movie, I think. And like, I decided not to do that just because it was really never considered. And I feel that I have taken different drugs recreationally, and like for like ayahuasca I went and I made a documentary about ayahuasca when I was younger, and I have never really seen any creatures myself. I've never really had visual experiences that I hadn't had when I'm sober. So I don't know where that's coming from either. Like the pink elephants, the monsters or the things talking at you, like I don't know where that's coming from. So yeah, it was really never. But I guess the most cliche part of them taking drugs is when Jamie goes like, "You guys look so alike. Jeans are weird. Jeans are so weird." It's like when you start finding normal things weird, that's when you're really high.
Yes.
I don't know about your other two brothers. I'm also from Chile, and I know Lel, and I know he's not an actor. So how was it hard to work with 3 characters that were like really along the whole movie that aren't really acting?
I mean, but if you know Lel, like he's really being Lel, right?
Yeah,
like he's not acting. So he's not acting. That's the thing. That's the whole secret right there. That they're not acting. They're just being themselves in front of a camera, and you're telling them to do things, but they're really behaving like they behave. So I starred in my last movie, Nasty Baby, that we shot in Brooklyn last year in September. and I'm the lead character, and I had to go through a lot of weird stuff. And I was just being myself, and it is a little intimidating if you have to do like very extreme emotional performances or go through like really crazy stuff like killing somebody or like, you know, or I don't know. But as long as you know yourself well enough, like you just know, you don't have to put a show to buy stuff at a grocery. Like you do that every day. So as long as you do it as you always do it, that's fine. But yeah, they were just playing themselves, and the dynamic that they had among them was really like what I wanted to have them there. Just like as a one entity, because I feel that the movie is really three characters. It's like Jamie, Crystal, and the brothers. Yeah.
Yes, and back.
I really enjoyed the film, but I was curious why you chose to have two American characters as opposed to all Chileans, for example. Was there a reason?
The reason was like, actually, it was a practical reason. I mean, this happened to me 13 years ago. It's based on a true story. I met a girl in San Francisco, actually. I mean, she was from San Francisco. I met her at the Wailers concert in Chile. And whatever, we were smoking weed. And then in the heat of the moment, I invited her to come with my best friend to take San Pedro. And then as soon as I said that, I regretted. And then it was too late. And then I told my friend, and we drove there without her. And then she was there at the square being mugged by gypsies, and we're like, oh God. But wait, what was your question? No, I really want to know. What was your question?
Why wasn't it with Chileans?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, to your question, they should have been Chilean. Everybody should have been Chilean. But we were going to shoot this other movie that I'm screening tomorrow, Magic, which is a bigger budget movie. It's a very, it's a psychological thriller, really nightmarish, and just bigger. And Michael was in Chile learning Spanish, staying at my parents for a month. And then I was supposed to go there, and we were supposed to start shooting the movie, and the finance got delayed. So Michael was staying with my family for 2 months now, and then the finance got delayed again, and then he was there for 3 months. He's like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I love your family. He was speaking Spanish to me already, right? And I'm like, okay, dude, I'll go down there. And then the money supposedly was there, and then we're ready to kind of start pre-production, and then the money fell through again. And then I offered him to do this instead. I'm like, should we do like just like a really quick road film? And I'll get the finance, I'll bring Gabby down. And Gabby was American. I mean, Crystal Ferry, it's a girl from San Francisco, so that was correct. And yeah, that's the reason. For me, I was not really thinking like about the Chilean or the American aspects. Like a lot of Americans have been like, oh, you really portrayed Americans really well. Like, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I've never seen an American in Chile drinking San Pedro with locals. Like I mean, maybe, but it's not common. Like the common tourist America in Chile is at the Hard Rock Cafe getting beer. They're not tripping out in mescaline with locals, yeah.
Yes.
Following up on the credits are a little small at the end, so I couldn't read what sort of a camera that you use. If you mentioned it, what format did you shoot?
Oh, it's digital. It's the Red Epic.
Oh, Epic. Okay.
It's called, yeah. It's a great little camera, right? Yeah, I liked it a lot. Very easy to use. It's small. So all of those scenes in the car were really, because we have a very small, also like a very short DP, kind of same camera size. And it was perfect. Like he would just go like this and like sit on the panel and like shoot. Yeah, the Red Epic. I don't know what I did then, I'm sorry.
And the Steadicam as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, it's very shaky. It's very shaky. Steadicam takes a while to operate. We were really rushing. It was only 11 days.
Yes.
Yes. Hi, I was really liked the film a great deal, and I thought it was interesting that the question came up that why Americans, and I thought what insight of the two cultures, and I thought that's what made it so humorous and so profound, that he's constantly reacting to things that are very common in Chile, but that call his attention, like the scene in the toilet where there's no toilet paper.
That is not a Chilean thing. What are you? We have toilet paper.
No,
we have internet.
Wait a minute. there's one thing America's known for, is for toilet papers and good toilets and bathrooms. And it's not that you don't have toilet paper in Chile, obviously, but you do go to a party and this kind of thing will happen in that kind of environment.
Yeah.
And he reacted to that, and he reacts to things that obviously he's recognizing or you know, I mean, I interpret
No, yeah,
what
yeah.
I saw in the film. So I think
that is always,
worked in the film so well.
that is always surprising to me, to be honest. I mean, like, I've been to, I didn't know that American toilets were so awesome, but, or that you guys were known for that. But like like this was the house of my friend lived there, right? That's my best friend's house, and I was staying there for a couple of weeks, and yeah, the toilet would just like sending the turds back out, and like it was one of those toilets, but that is really uncommon. Like that was a very special toilet, and that's why we hired him to be in the movie. But that was a very special toilet, and then like, for instance, like other stuff like, but I know what you're saying. Like he wouldn't. Thank you so much. That he wouldn't eat an empanada, right? Like he wouldn't eat a meat empanada.
That's
Yeah.
the point that I'm trying to make.
But that's the thing it's not that I'm fighting you in any way. I'm just being funny, you know. But like I feel that I would not eat an empanada either in there, and I don't like instant coffee either. But that's not a Chilean thing or an American thing. Like that's what I feel that there is a tendency. Maybe just because he's speaking English, I don't know what it is, that people want to see that that's how Americans act, you know, but there's neurotic people everywhere, and there's like picky people everywhere, and like people that is disgusted by things everywhere. It doesn't just belong to Americans. I think that in any case, Crystal Fairy represents something that is intrinsically more American. Like the term of like a tree hugger, you know, or like even the fairy culture in America is bigger, especially in San Francisco, you know, right? But yeah, there's no fairies really down in Chile. So for me, Gabi represents more of an American specific thing, but Jamie really, yeah, I don't know.
One of the things that I enjoy very much of the movie is that at the beginning, I thought there was a kind of a lot of disorganization, drugs, drinking, all this. But as the movie progresses, and I see the relation between these four fellows and the girl, how innocent. There was a lot of innocence in that relation. In no moment comes the element of sex, because there you see a woman very interesting, new, and the boys all are all just like brothers. It's something that surprised me very much, because you see an American movie, the first thing that is immediately the element of sex. I thought maybe the two of them are going to get together, etc.
Right.
Nothing. It's always such an innocent movie.
Yeah.
That is, I enjoy very much.
Thank you so much. That I guess it was somehow intentional. There's something very unsexy about Crystal Fairy, right? Not that she's not a beautiful woman, but I mean it looks so natural, right? The way like she's like so sort of comfortable with her own body, and her body is so unsexy somehow in that scene, and it's so off-putting for the boys, and the fact that there's so much humor mixed with the scene that it's sort of like there was no really room for any sensuality or any sexuality. And you know what? There was like an attempt to maybe make Crystal Fairy have a crush on Leo, actually, the guy that didn't speak any English, but then it felt kind of uncalled for and unnecessary. It was really a movie like, usually movies, I agree with you that in America, like there's a movie about the robbery of a bank, and then the master thief has to have an affair with some lady because we need to see some naked lady at some point in the movie. But yeah, I feel that there was no really need to create any sort of like male-female relationship.
Yes.
Well, going sort of back to the other point, what is the reaction of Chileans to Gringo, to North Americanos in that film? Or because I mean, he was such a buffoon, Did it go over well? Or has it been shown, it's been shown extensively in Chile?
Actually, no, it has not been. The movie has not really. You're asking about the movie? If it's been? Yeah, no, it hasn't been released yet in Chile. It's going to be released in April. It was such a late release. It was not planned like that, but it just happened like that, and we'll see what happens. I'm wondering. I'm wondering what's going to happen. But again, I have to say that it's rare. I feel that Jamie is really a special man, like that he's inviting two trannies to have rice at his house in the middle of the night, and then there's nothing sexual about it. He just wanted to feed them for some reason. Yeah, he's really an uncommon person, Jamie, to me.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you could explain the two scenes. So at the beginning, Jamie is doing the yoga when he's really high, and then later on the beach he does the same thing with Crystal Fairy. What was the parallel there?
I mean, so at the beginning he's doing those exercises, right? That is just something, I don't know why we did that. It's some exercise that I would do at some point in my life when I did cocaine, no. But like I would just do that to open up my chest, and like it was just kind of like something that we thought there that he could do because he couldn't sleep because of doing so much cocaine. And then, but those exercises not as related to, because the morning that they're going to take the San Pedro, right? He's smoking and he goes up to Crystal Fairy and she's doing this Carlos Castaneda magical passes, right? And he's like, what are you doing? And he's like, is this yoga? What is it? And he tries to join kind of hard, yeah, like not really into it. And then he leaves, right? And they kind of get into a sassy little conversation. And then when he's taking the San Pedro and he's starting to sort of like to feel a little more at ease with himself, and then he has that argument with Crystal right after they took the San Pedro, and he's like, you don't need to do all of this. Like, stop fooling yourself. That there's no faces in the mountain. What are you doing? And then he feels, that was like kind of like a way to show that he's thinking about her, and that he's sort of letting her in a little more. Instead of judging those magical passes, he's actually maybe giving them a chance by himself. Yeah. That's why.
We have time for one more question, and then I have a brief announcement and a brief comment before we conclude. Is there another question? Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if I remember correctly, but I remember that you used to make music with Sebastián Silva, right?
Yeah.
So I was wondering how is the process of like putting music to a film? Or in this case, like I can imagine that it's after shooting. So how do you think about that? Like, how do you do it yourself? Do you work with Viera or somebody else? Or?
No, this like my first film had score. Life Kills Me had score because it was really a fable. It was kind of a fable. It was black and white. It was about the phenomenon of death, and it kind of had like magical realism on it. So music score kind of like fit that sort of movie. But then The Maid had no music at all. And then Old Cat was completely silent, no music at all. And then Crystal Fairy, I was really planning on only putting incidental music, like whenever they're in the car and the music that's coming out of the speakers or wherever they are, like music had to be coming out of a device, wherever they were. That's incidental music. But then I felt that when they get to the final destination, to that beautiful national park that is called Pan de Azúcar, it just felt right to sort of like change the mood. And we use Edward Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros to sort of orchestrate the feeling that I wanted to convey. And it was kind of, I was breaking the rules a little bit, but I allowed myself to do that. And I have one question for them. So there is this scene that Jamie's staring at this Santa Claus sitting on a TV set, and then there is a demon. You remember there is a demon? Yeah, what's going on with that? Yeah,
Was that from China? Was that little figurine from China?
I don't know. It looks like it, right?
It looked Chinese.
Yes.
With the hat.
Yeah, it looks. Yeah, like, anybody has anything to say about that, or like?
Is it so we think we've imagined it? Because it's about people who take a drug and then, you know, he's kind of uncertain.
Was it-
Frightened.
was-
And then it was kind of like, because when I saw it, I thought, shit, I really hope that was part of the film. I didn't just like randomly see
Oh,
it.
great. I like that
I don't
answer.
know, but maybe that's
Is
just
that-
me being completely crazy.
Is it distracting? That's my question. Is it distracting in a way that you stayed with that flavor for more than a minute and a half, or you kind of let it go? You let it go?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you, guys.
One brief announcement and then a brief comment. The announcement is the Center for Latin American Studies on March 5th is doing an advanced screening of the new film Cesar Chavez. The director will be with us, Diego Luna, and it is a very powerful film about the birth of the United Farm Workers in the 1960s in California. And my brief comment is we're really pleased, as I mentioned
thank you so
earlier,
much.
we showed La Nana here shortly after it came out.
Oh,
and
great.
received a very strong reaction. Out of this conversation, I can't help but comment on two words that came up that put the film in a little better perspective. One was your use of the word compassion. The film was a search for compassion. Your use of innocence. Compassion and innocence. It was a beautiful film. We look forward to having you back.
Thank you so much.